Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode to Rise and Clarity Insider. I'm excited to have today Stephanie Kalpan. It's the second time we're online together. I'm really happy to have a conversation today concerning a new topic. It's people they are not talking about, but I think it's very important to have a light on criticism, self-definition, how to find your identity, and people are super shy to express this kind of topics. And the reason that I choose this topic, recently I saw um, like a lot of people on Substack, outside of Substack, they don't really appreciate themselves indirectly. They take criticism as like self down, and they don't really know what to take, what do not take, and how things are going. So exactly, I was like choosing Stephanie. She has exactly the experience in this, and she was talking in her writings and in her like previous podcast about many topics related to this. Welcome, Stephanie, and thank you so much to accept my invitation.
Yes, so happy to be here. There's so much to cover here, and it's such an important topic. I think that a lot of people think they have way less control in life than they actually do. And when you start to realize how much control you actually have, and I don't just mean in how you respond to things, but in how you internally take things, how you shift it, and how you transmute that into something incredible. If there's one thing I wish that people knew more was how much control they actually have. So I'm excited to really dig into this today.
Yes, and especially when they start to know exactly themselves and to define themselves in a powerful way, so they can be very like honest to themselves, and then they can treat the others in the same way. Let's start to discuss like the first question is about what's the difference between criticism that breaks you and the criticism that builds you, and how do we decide which one to get access to? Like, how do we define our identity through this? And
Yeah.
there any like way to take it, like to take the one that builds us? How
hmm
do we know?
Yeah. Fantastic question. I love that. Okay. So all criticism can build us. Okay. There is no breaking you unless you determine that it does. And the reason, and what I mean by this is that most people don't have the tools on how to understand what life is showing us in every given moment. Okay. So, my hope for today is that I can give you some tools for that and help you
Yeah,
understand it more, to be able to take that away. But why I say every point of criticism is building us is because nobody can make us feel a way that we don't already feel. When we're triggered by something or we're being criticized and scorned, because subconsciously we are being that way towards ourself in some other area of life or way towards ourself, right? If you think about why we're triggered, there's definitely scenarios that you've been in life that haven't triggered you, right? And so why is that? That is because there isn't anything emotional associated with what's being brought up through that experience, right? Everything is neutral until we assign a meaning to it.
yeah,
Usually, the meaning that comes automatic, our reaction, is because there's an emotion that's associated within ourselves of a memory that has happened in
yeah,
the past. So, when someone's criticizing you, it's not even about the moment or the thing they said. It's about what it's making you feel, right? It's what it's bringing up within you. So, if somebody is criticizing you as a person, for example, right? If somebody says, like, you're a bad person and you're just all criticized and upset because you don't feel understood and you feel like they didn't understand your intention from the first place, right? There's many components of that, right? You want to look at, it's never the direct thing that is being said that's a match of how we feel, right? So if someone says like you're ugly and you get offended by it, it doesn't necessarily mean that like you think you're ugly, right?
Yeah.
What it is how did that situation make you feel? How did you feel they were being towards you, right? So if someone called you ugly and you were criticized, what did that make you feel? What was that bringing up within you? Okay. Well, that made me feel like they didn't like notice all of the things that I've done, right? So that's actually your answer. And this is how you can use criticism for to build you, right? So what that's showing you in that moment is that you're not noticing all of the things that you do in your life. It doesn't necessarily mean physicality, although it could, right? Are you beating yourself up all the time? Are you looking in the mirror and then saying, I hate all these things about myself? Are you noticing all the progress that you've had at work? Or are you beating yourself up on the one mistake that you made, right? We tend to narrow in and focus on the one thing and then we harp on it and then we create an identity around that, right? So I messed up at work. I am now bad at blank, right? And now it becomes our identity. We say we can't, we are that thing. And that's how this shapes into identity, is because then we hold on to one moment that we perceived that was emotional. And now we create an identity out of it. And that's how you start to um, decipher of letting criticism build you or break you. Most people are letting it break them because they're living on autopilot and it's subconscious. They're letting life happen to them instead of life happening for you. When you can realize life is happening for you, that everything you want in life is available for you, that reality of what you want and desire is it exists. It's in a reality for you to claim. And if you can look at life as getting you there, it is your partner in all things. Your universe, life, every experience situation is literally working in your favor to get you what you want. It's just not in the way that you think. It's going to use triggers, it's going to use obstacles, it's going to use criticism so that you can notice how you're being towards yourself. It's the only reason why you're triggered, and then you can shift it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really good perspective, especially because like some people, they don't know. It's not about how they take it. It's just they don't know. They don't know how
Mhm.
to react with the situation. They don't know how to answer, and it's not something that it's not good. Like
Yeah.
it's very normal sometimes that things that we don't know how to react with, and like especially many cases that I see people getting back to me asking like, how do we reply to this, or how to react to, like, even if they know the tools,
Mm.
sometimes they don't know how to use it, or how to shift their perspective, or how to reply, or how to face it. And especially me, I think they get back to me because I was in their shoes one day, like
Yeah.
the same things that happening. It was happening to me in young ages, which is really I have no idea how to react with.
Yeah.
And now when I told people about my stories, and especially personal stories, and they are, oh, this is how it shapes you, how the story shapes you in a way. Oh,
Mhm.
really? It takes me like a while to admit, and just like to be good with myself, because it's not 1 or 2 years. It takes like a long process. So I really believe that this topic is very helpful to people that are listening to us, and thank you for everyone who's joining us today. It's really amazing. So uh, it's sometimes it shift the identity toward like negative people, but they're still fighting. They're still trying to find a way, even if they are complaining, nagging about like what they listen, like criticism, self identity. But I really respect them, like, because they still continue. Like even when someone belittle us, like
Mhm.
what's happening psychologically, I don't know what's happening, like defining us as revealing themselves, or like facing themselves in a way. So how do we react to this? Like it's build us for sure, it
Yeah.
build, but
Mhm.
how, like sometimes we react in a way that it harms us in a way. No.
Yeah. Okay. So two things, two paths I want to go down first. I'll give you how you actually like handle that, right? When we think about emotions. But first I want to talk about like what people are trying to achieve, right? So essentially, and this goes back to like that everything we have way more control to what I was talking about at the beginning. So when we say things to people, when we are trying to take action and do things, we are usually doing it because of what we think is going to happen on the other side of that, right? It's the same thing with wants and desires and goals. I have this goal, I have this want because I believe on the other side of that is a feeling, something that I'm now going to feel that I don't feel now, right? I'm going to feel valued. I'm going to feel successful. I'm going to feel like I have freedom. I'm going to feel like going to have stability, right? And so, what we're trying to do a lot of the times is get all of those feelings externally through people. So, people telling us, like, you did a great job, right? You want your boss to say to you, like, you're amazing at what you do, right? So, you're trying to prove and do all of these things to get someone to basically say something because you think that will then make it true, right? We're trying to get validation through the external, through people, right? And so the same thing when you look at it from someone else's perspective, right? They're trying to gain something that they don't have, right? They're belittling you because they want control, right? They're feeling out of control and they're trying to control it in some way. So I want everyone to first realize everyone has their own thing they're going through. I know we've talked about this, right? It's like everyone's projecting something. I'm not saying any of this to say that it's easy, right? It's simple and it's doable. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy because our emotions are really strong. And when we have strong emotions in our body, essentially a memory is just a strong emotional experience. That's why we remember it, right? It's why you can remember like someone laughing at you in second grade, but like not what you did 3 Tuesdays ago. Do you know what I mean? It's like the reason is literal strong emotion. So when we're in an emotional state, it's harder to adapt. So I'll give you some tools and stuff on that. But what I first want you to realize is whatever you're doing, you're always trying to get something externally, and the only way you know how to do that is through trying to get it from other people. Okay. You need to realize you have full control. All of those feelings that I mentioned, you have access to feeling them right now. Okay. You can feel stable right now. The problem is you've created a label or an expectation or an outcome of what stability means. I will only feel stable when I have $1 million in my bank account. I will only feel stable if I have this. I will only feel stable if I have this. But you do have versions of stability, right? So how can you feel stable right now? Because when we're reacting from an imbalanced emotional state, we're going to keep getting more of that, right? More people criticizing us, more people making us feel like we're missing something because we are the root. We are the one that is in control, and it starts internally before externally, right? So whatever you're experiencing as far as criticism goes, or an experience that you don't like, it's because it started internally. You don't have it internally. You don't feel it, right? I always say to people, well, I wish they understood me more. Well, do you understand yourself? How would you even know that they understand you? Because you don't even know what that would look like because you don't understand yourself. Do you know all the qualities about yourself that make you unique? Have you looked at all your past experiences to see how it shaped you and made you perfect and amazing in who you are? Are you still wishing, regretting, wishing your life was better and hoping for something? Or have you actually gotten to a place of acceptance of where it is and then realize you are in full control of what happens next, right? The only thing that exists is today, is the present moment. You always have a choice to do it. The only reason why we don't is the story that we're replaying in our head of like, oh, I wish I would have done that. I should have done this thing. I'm too far behind. I don't have enough. It's like, that's all false. It is not truth. It is a story that you're believing, right? So I want you even to think about when you're facing criticism, who determined that as truth, right? You did. Someone's criticizing you. You're accepting it as truth. That's because you believe it. So if someone's telling you you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not valuable, you're accepting that story and you're triggered by it. You're triggered by it because you believe it. But most people don't realize they believe it and they're thinking it's them, and they're pointing all the fingers outwards versus trying to look internally to say, hey, why am I a match to experience this? And what is this situation showing me? How can I use this to then grow, to get better, to do something different, right? We think of, if you've heard of the term like insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We think about this a lot with actions. We don't think about it enough with like internally how we feel about ourselves, how we act every day, the thoughts that we have, the beliefs that we hold. Okay. You can take a new action and try to get a different outcome. But if you don't change the underlying thing about how you feel, nothing is going to change either. Right.
Yeah.
So it's important to first understand like what we're trying to gain, what other people are trying to gain, to have a little bit more empathy. However empathetic you can be towards yourself is how empathetic you're going to be to others. If you're understanding towards yourself, you're going to understand people more, which also helps with you getting less triggered. right? But if you are not checking your emotional state, if you're not actually uncovering limiting beliefs, evolving, changing your identity, you are not going to understand another human that is also going through it, right? Hurt people hurt people. And that is so true. Everybody's going through something. That doesn't make it right. It doesn't mean that you should accept that, right? But use it as showing you something because you're experiencing it for a reason. I don't think anything is happening on accident. Everything in life is just a mirror of you and it's showing you back to you, right? So if you were to project out, what is this showing me about me? Now you have full control to take something away, implement it into your life, get out of insanity in both action and energetics, right? The energetics is like just how you feel about yourself, right? What's the internal knowing and feeling that you have? If everybody's mirroring you, if you felt like you were the most valuable thing, people would mirror that back to you,
Yeah,
right? You'd
yeah,
feel like they're mirroring it. So whatever is in your reality, again, I'm not saying that it's easy and it sucks and nobody wants to go through like an experience where you're being criticized or being bullied or um, you know, being a very uncomfortable situation, especially one that's triggering and hurtful. So I want to just acknowledge that like I know that it's hard. I know that it's not ideal, but we can't just sit in that and stew in it and just let it take us down further. We have to utilize it. And that requires emotional mastery and it requires self awareness. And then it requires turning the fingers inward to be able to use this experience to grow in life. We are here to grow, to get better. And the way that we do that is through obstacle, right? If everything in life is going well, I think if everybody can think about a time in their life when everything was going well and you're complacent, you get lazy, you stop doing things, right? Shit just happens and all of a sudden you're like, crap, I messed up for 10 months because I was just like not paying attention. How do we learn? We learn through obstacle, through hard things. That's how we overcome, right? And so if you can reframe how you look at things, it's like the first step to like, oh, this is showing me something. If you can lean in with that and then have empathy for their projecting, but if someone's projecting something onto you and you're triggered, there is something for you to take away, right? So you always need to see your side in addition to whatever else the other person has going on.
yeah. And especially if let's pause a little bit and take it as if people criticize the others and one of them they take it as like down to themselves and they put it inside and they're trying to swallow it in a way.
Mhm.
But like sometimes like how do we exactly know the moment to like expand or just like to have the expansion like let's start to change something in ourselves. So,
Mhm.
because sometimes we believe in it and just like we see the environment is like taking it as like you're not capable, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, and you believe it,
Mm. Yeah.
which normal how we feel sometimes. Really they don't know about it and then they don't choose to like to face it. They don't choose to face it, they take it and they try to swallow it in a way we don't know. And how do we know like when the moment
Mm.
inside we know this is the time to have the revolution, this is the time to face it, this is the time that this is the self-awareness, or just like take the results as negative. Like
Mhm.
this is really deep because sometimes it takes years, trust me, it takes years to adapt to your new self. And when you face things, when you start to face things, the results will be like not on spot. It takes like long years to just see the results of the revolution of like the new you. And it's like looked like everything everything that we did internally, it
Mhm.
goes uh, into a crush, like nothing,
Yeah.
nothing for years, and then you discover, oh, let's do it again. And this is the repetitive. I think this is repetitive actions. You cannot be like you cannot give up on spot. So
Mhm.
it depends, I think, on the duration, or like how you take it, and the duration that you put inside, right? Like the duration of not facing it, and that this is when you're gonna face it. It's different.
So, okay, let's just go through a quick process of what you would do, and then I wanna, also just talk about quickly, like, what we need to do as far as like seeing things within ourselves. So let's go through a process of like you're in a heated moment with someone, an emotion is coming up. Okay. So, first thing that we need to know is an emotion is neutral, right? They're like, we need to not judge the emotion as good or bad, right? A lot of people like to say, I'm happy, yay, I'm good, right? It's the same thing of being complacent. Things are going well versus things not going well. It's because you're not neutral. You're not seeing the good and bad in everything, right? So we just talked about this being complacent and things going well. The bad in that is that you get fucking lazy, you miss shit, you let things slide by, right? I work a lot with founders and business owners. When your business is going well, what's usually happening? You're letting employees slack, they're not doing their job, you miss out on financial components, and then what happens? Crash. Oh shit, I should have been paying attention more. But you weren't because you were just excited that things were going well. So that's the negative of things going well, right? Now, if you think of things going not well, what are the positives of that? Well, I'm learning. I'm realizing things that I'm missing in my life, right? I'm being away towards myself. I have this identity, this limiting belief. It's showing you something and getting you there. That's the positive, right? So situations are not good or bad. They're neutral. They're both. It's all about your perception and what you're seeing. For emotions, the emotion itself is just your biology expressing itself in the best way it can. If you were to like look at the energy of an emotion, all it wants to do is express. It's not good or bad. It's just a biological reaction to something that's happened. So, first, acknowledging that you're angry or mad or sad, like we don't need to shame it and try to push it away. A lot of people go to bypassing. Let me just swallow my pride, right? Let me
Mm.
just be a bigger person. And then you just never look at it again. And you just keep swallowing anger. And emotion is energy in motion. Okay. So, anytime you're bottling up emotions, they're living in your body, right? It's emotion, energy in motion, and you're not expressing it. Its one goal is to be expressed, to complete its cycle. It takes 90 seconds to experience an emotion for it to complete its cycle. Most people swallow it. It lives in the body. Most of cancer is related to like anger and resentment in the body. If you look at the emotional root cause, everything has an emotional root cause and a physical root cause. Everything starts out as a thought, right? So if
Mm.
I wanted to create this cell phone, I had to have the thought to create a cell phone. Oh, I'm Steve Jobs. I want it to be a bigger screen that you can utilize, right? You have to visualize it and have the idea in your head first. Then you take the actions to make it physical. Our body works the same way. We have a thought first, and then it manifests in the body. So that's just a side note of if you're not expressing emotion, it needs to find somewhere to express, and it's going to live in the body and then manifest physically. Okay.
Yes.
Every part of the body has an underlying emotional root cause. We can talk about that another day if anyone's interested in that, but they'll express somewhere in the body. So the first thing is the emotion is neutral. It just wants to be expressed. So I want you to just first look at like whatever you're feeling is just biology. It's trying to show you something. There's a meaning, right? Anger is an incredible emotion. Okay. Anger is what makes you take action. I'm angry that the world is stuck right now and we have more information in the world. I'm angry that people don't know and have these tools. My anger with the tools not being there is now giving passion to start a business, right? I am angry that there's no clean foods for people to eat. I'm going to start a company and do it. I'm going to solve that problem, right? Anger is also a boundary was crossed, right? Someone said something to you that you don't accept, right? The anger is just showing you that something's off. It's not good or bad. It's just an expression of something. So step one is like, do not judge the emotion. Don't shame it and don't judge it as good or bad. Oh no, here I go again, getting angry. I can't control myself. I'm the worst, right? It's because people judge us for things and we accept those judgments. Starts out usually when we're younger. Parents were not equipped on emotions, and so they judged us based on the emotion that we had, right? If you see this right now, a baby's crying, and immediately it's like, oh no, stop the baby from crying, right? Like we have to just stop it because it's bad, crying bad. And so these are things that we continue on through with life. So just first know that you're experiencing something and it's there to show you, right? Jealousy, for example, when we're feeling jealous, that's just showing us that someone has something that we want and we have not given ourselves permission that we can have it. Someone started a business and they're successful. I'm jealous of that. That just means you have that potential and you're not allowing yourself to see that that's possible for you. Okay. We love jealousy. Jealousy now, if you understand what it's showing you, great. It's showing you that you're sleeping on your potential.
Yeah.
Start gaining your potential and then take action on it. Right. Um, Another one that I think is relevant to just mention, and then I'll keep going through the process, but like guilt, for example, that's a big one. People feel guilty. I feel guilty that I didn't see my parents. I feel guilty that I'm leaving my child. I feel guilty that I did this thing.
Mm.
Guilt is also an amazing emotion. Think of it, if obviously we were all babies once. If our parents didn't feel guilt, we would be just like left alone. They wouldn't give us attention. They wouldn't give us love, right? Guilt is showing you that there's something you value and you would want for yourself. And so when you don't do it, you're feeling guilty. Now, again, there is, what is that trying to show you, right? So in the situation of a mom, maybe you're not giving yourself enough time alone. You're putting your needs to the side. Okay. In the name of guilt, you're letting guilt win. You're not seeing what it's there to show you. It's there to show you that your needs matter, that you need to prioritize yourself, that you need some care, help, components, right? So that's just a quick
Yeah.
way of saying that emotions are valid and they're needed. So I want you first to do that. No judgment. We're not judging it. What we don't want to do is blow up on someone. So we want to like notice that we're feeling anger. But I also want to say, like, if you do act in anger, um, it's okay. Like, we all have reactions to things that take over, especially depending on where we are in our journey of learning our emotions and how to understand them and express them in a healthy way versus an unhealthy way, which is like at someone. Um, so that's fine. Everybody is a match to every experience in the same way you're a match to them showing you something, you're a match to showing them something. And so again, that's not an excuse to say I can just do whatever I want because they're a match for it. We do not want to do that. We want to be emotionally mature humans that know how to express our emotions and then understand them. So what I would say is to know that you're expressing something. And I would want you to note at some point, like, I'm feeling anger right now, and not express it in the moment, but put it to the side if you're not in a place where you can express it to express it later. Okay. So you're going to find what works best for you for expression. For me, it's like I love music, dancing, driving, walking, things that like allow me to express through motion really works well for me. But you can like hit a towel on the floor. You can scream into a pillow. You can cry. Like, let yourself just express the thing you need to, because it's energy that just needs expression. So if you're at work and you're pissed, save that and like express
Yeah.
your anger later. And then once you've expressed it, you have allowed your body to get out of fight or flight where you can start to think clearly. The emotion did what it needed. It got out of your body, right? That's why people have relief. This is why talk therapy works, or people think it works for them, is because they get relief, but you're not actually changing anything. So it's just one step. You can't just express the emotion and move on, right? Because you're going to keep getting triggered. You haven't actually looked at the pattern, what it's showing you, and then how to make the change in your life. And this is not to bash talk therapy. It has its time and place for people in their lives and how they use it. But typically, right, you're expressing the same thing over and over again. You're telling the same story essentially in a different form of someone who criticized you, and you're not changing it, right? It's not giving you the tools to actually move forward in that thing. And it's the reason why people keep going back is they're getting the relief, right? The relief of the expression, but that's only one part. Okay. So then I want you to look at the situation, the feeling that we were talking about. So feelings are our way to access our subconscious mind. Okay. So a feeling it's not the ultimate truth. It's just the truth that you're believing, right? It's the belief that you hold. Beliefs, like whatever you're experiencing. So for example, if someone said like, I'm not good with money, right? That's not true. You just have memories and proof that you haven't been good with money in the past. What you actually have proof of is that you have a limiting belief, right? And the belief is showing up in your reality as a constant because you believe it to be true. People have a hard time with that because they're like, oh, well, I don't have any proof of the opposite, right? You do. You just haven't actually consciously allowed yourself to find it, right? Of how you have been good with something. And so I just want to label that first. So feelings are your interpretation of your subconscious mind. Okay. It's like people always ask me, how do I find my limiting beliefs? Feelings. That's how you find your limiting beliefs. You don't need to go into your past. You don't need to dig up all this stuff. You can use your present reality on a trigger and then how you feel the person was being, right? So, for example, if me and you got into an argument and then I asked you how that made you feel, and you asked me how that made me feel, there would be two completely different things. Like you might be like, "Oh, I'm feeling like you're not valuing my time." Right? And I might be like, "You're not valuing the words I'm saying." Right? Like whatever. It's going to show you how you're being towards yourself and how I'm being towards myself in another area of life, right? And so when you can become aware of that, you're like, oh, okay, so what I'm feeling in this moment is me accessing a limitation that I have on myself, a belief that needs to go, right? A belief is just something that has a strong emotion associated to it, memories, and then proof, because the reticular activating system in our brain is going to, its one job is just to find what you believe to be true, evidence of that in your reality, and make you focus on it. That's it. So if you want to focus on new things, you have to start with the belief. This is why affirmations don't work, because there's no proof involved. You can't just say, I'm healthy when you're like sick. It's not going to like make you feel better because your subconscious mind is way smarter. Your subconscious mind is 95% of your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, actions. Like everything is coming from your subconscious. People think they're logical, they're strategic, and they're making decisions. They're not. We're emotional beings. We are always acting from the emotion. We're always acting from trying to gain something externally to try to fill a void internally that we have. And we think that's the only way to get it. So the feeling is your key to your limiting belief. That's all you want to look at. So I want to know, what is my limiting belief? Like, why am I matched to this experience? Why was this anger coming up? What is it here to show me? It's here to show me this feeling, this breakdown of where that is, right? So now you've acknowledged this is a way I am being towards myself in some area of life. Then I want you to find, how am I being that way towards myself? So if I'm feeling like someone's not valuing um, my work, right? Like, where are you not valuing things that you're doing? We think we're conscious, we're not. We're not very conscious of the things that we do, right? It's why people have a hard time celebrating and why people have a hard time like noticing their progress. If you really do sit and look at who you were 5 years ago to now, you've probably accomplished and changed and made way more progress than you're giving yourself credit for, because we're not consciously actually seeing and noticing. The only way it lives in our body and the only way we actually transform our identity is by noticing these things, clocking it. So we have to clock it for new proof, which is essentially helping you build a new belief, but you have to emotionally attach to it, right? The reason why you're triggered is because of a strong emotion. You also need to use strong emotions to reprogram. It's the only way it works. You can't just logically say, well, I am valuable because of this, and this. Great. I love that you logically can say that, but if you don't feel that in the body in the same way that you do when you're triggered by what someone doesn't have, it needs to match that energy. That's really how you start to reprogram. And now when you've reprogrammed, now you love and you're grateful for that situation, because look what it just helped you do, right? It helped you change a belief, an identity that was holding you back. So people think of gratitude in the wrong way. They think, I'm just going to wake up in the morning and write 3 things down of what I'm grateful for, and that's going to solve my problem. Well, if that solved our problems, we all would be fine and dandy right now, and that's not clearly working. You can't just write down 3 things that you're grateful for. We love that. Gratitude is amazing. If you feel gratitude, you want to feel it. But the way you get to true gratitude is a byproduct. It's a byproduct of you getting neutral and understanding what a situation was showing you. So if we just got into a heated argument, if I swallow it, and then I'm replaying it in my head all day. I'm beating myself up. Why wish I said this? I wish I said that. Why did that happen to me? Oh my God, people are against me. That's the story I'm just going to keep living, right? And so it keeps happening in our reality. And then we're pissed about it because it's now consuming our brain. That's why we're actually pissed. And then if someone tries to tell you to be grateful for it without the tools, it's going to be really hard because you're pissed still. You're not seeing it. But if you can go through the process of understanding what it's showing you, gratitude becomes a byproduct, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm so grateful we got in that argument because it made me realize that I wasn't seeing my value. Now I'm seeing my value. Now my husband sees my value. Now my clients see my value. Now I got a promotion. Now I got a raise. Now I got more money. Now I'm like, the best fucking thing that happened was getting in an argument because I just made more money because of it. And you're like, hell yes, thank you. So that is how you look at and see reality as working for you. This is obviously one step of that. We are complex beings. If you don't know how your nervous system works, if you don't know how your brain works, it's going to be really hard because our egos one job is to keep us safe and protect us, and it's going to keep telling us a story. You have to know when that story is playing in your head and how to consciously rewrite the story.
Yes, and I believe also to prove your to take your words into consideration. I remembered the story of anger.
Hmm.
Usually, I take it before as a reaction of something, as a feeling,
Hmm.
but it takes time to me to process it as a tool, as how to use it to improve myself, how
Hmm.
to from this situation and try to do something else, even if I'm good with myself back then, but it discovers other capabilities, other fields, other ways that to discover yourself in a different way. So I transform the anger into like breaking walls to even talk to people that they face me one on one. Like some
Hmm.
people one on one put me down as like you cannot do that, you cannot achieve, cannot bring stuff, like etc. So it takes me a while to discover my capabilities, and which is this session is, I believe, helping people to really define themselves in a way, even if the pressure is constant. Sometimes in our lives the pressure is constant. It's like
Hmm.
different stories. Every day pressure is there, and I I think that I discovered that through the whole struggles that it shapes me, uh,
Hmm.
and my body now have a design of like resisting and facing the problems and transform it into like powerful points, into the powerful ideas to achieve, or just like helping people. It was like one way to help myself without.
Hmm.
Before I was like, why I should help this guy or this woman, or why do I have to pay here, pay there, or like financially struggle, which is help myself indirectly without knowing. So
Hmm.
uh, the next question is like people they don't know about. Maybe you have the answer. Like, how do we design our body to transform anger or transform bad feeling into a weapon, into a good ideas in our head to face it and to overcome what we have in our environment, or even to face the people that they are putting us down, in a way to continue. Like, how do we shift this into like
Hmm.
powerful efforts?
Yeah. So, what I just went through with that process, what you want to think about is when you're at true gratitude and you see what it's showing you, you won't feel the need to like do anything else, right? Because you already gave yourself what you need from that situation. So, if we want to think about like our own potentials and using reality to help us get there. So, if you don't even see your potential, it's gonna be harder to do this too, right? Like, you gotta start first with, like, where am I at right now? What am I unhappy with? What do I like? What do I not like? Like, what if there was no money, no realism, no, um, experience, like, what would I wanna be doing? Right? Like, get honest with yourself of, like, where you're at and what you want. You cannot go for something if you don't even know what it is that you want yet, right? There's always 2 parts. But the first part is, like, getting really honest with yourself on where things are, and then what you would actually want, right? So, I would start with that, right? Where am I? What are things I don't like about my reality? What do I wish were different? Okay, maybe for someone that's, like, get a new job, right? Okay, great. What most people are gonna do though is just be like, "Well, I'm, a marketing manager, so, like, I'm gonna look for another marketing manager role because like, that's logical." And, like, maybe the new job will somehow fulfill me, even though we know that it's not about the current reality that you're in, right? It's, like, something else that is showing up in that experience. So, what is it that I would want? Like, let yourself go there. That doesn't mean you're gonna do that thing tomorrow, but even just let yourself dream of some possibility. Then I want you to think about, why do you feel you can't do that? What are all the things about you that you feel you can't do that thing, like that make that impossible for you to do? right? Because those are, again, going to be your limitations and your blocks around yourself and your ability and your potential. Okay. So that'll give you like a good baseline of like what you think about yourself and kind of where you're not allowing yourself to truly do the things that you want to do. Also, like, uncertainty is really hard for people to like live in an uncertain time. How am I going to get there? People want control. What is that going to be? But if you are not even allowing yourself to feel it's possible, it's not going to be possible for you. I work a lot with tech founders that raise money in venture capital, right? So I'm helping them get money for their business. And if you don't know that you're the best leader and the person that they should invest in, or if you don't believe your business is the best thing and why someone should invest in it, nobody is going to see that or feel that, right? Everything starts with you. And so this kind of comes back to the point of like your own capabilities. Do you know the qualities about yourself that make you incredible? Or are you beating yourself up thinking, I wish I was more this way. I wish I was more this way, right? Do you know how that thing is working great for you? We are all unique, special individual beings. We are
Yes.
one of one. There is nobody that is us. There's nobody that speaks like you, has your experiences, has the brain and the way that your brain works, right? I was just chatting with a woman this morning who's in a similar space and she wants me to speak to her group of women, right? And it's like, there's no competition. We
Yes.
could both talk about the same thing and it comes off so differently because her brain works in a very different structured way, function, how she thinks of things. I might be speaking right now, everybody that's listening, 77 people that are on here, every person is clicking and taking in different things at once. Your brain is incredible, right? People love to say, "Oh, you have ADHD." You don't have ADHD. You have an epic brain that works really fast. Love your ADHD. Stop taking medication for that, right? Like, I have ADHD and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Why? Because my brain can move a mile a minute. I think of many things at once. It's always thinking, always on, always putting pieces together in a puzzle. It's because I love it and I understand how it works. We're moving through life in our body without knowing how it works. It's like we bought this machine and we don't even know any of its functions. We don't know how our subconscious mind works, how our conscious mind works, how our nervous system works. We don't know anything about who we are, this being that we're living, except for beating ourselves up and thinking we're wrong and we need to fix ourselves and all of these components of self. No, we need to get back to acceptance and love and seeing why we are the best at being us, why everything about our past has created us to be who we are right now, right? And we have to stand in that. That's what makes you grounded. That's what makes you in a very strong foundation. One of the frameworks that I use, it's called BASE. And it's understanding your beliefs, your actions, your self identity, your emotions, and then using evidence, right? And that creates a solid base, a solid foundation that you are operating through life from. Life is not going to get easier. We're going through a shit storm right now as far as what's happening. It's not going to get better. But you can't live in doomsday. You can't let externally the life take you down. People have made the most money when the economy is crashing, when bad things are going on, right? Do you believe you're someone who can do that? Or are you letting the times take you down, right? Are you believing the societal beliefs that are coming out there about what you're capable of, what can be true, what can't be true? And or are you someone who's like, I'm going to figure this out. If there's a will, there's a way. Because I know that about me. I know that I'm going to figure something out. That is like a quality about myself that I love. We're trying to get these. If I asked every single person on this call, tell me 25 things about you that make you the best fucking person in the whole world, it would be hard for people to find that, right? They could probably tell me 25 reasons why they suck and why they're terrible and why their life isn't going great, right? But if I told you, give me 25 reasons as to like why you're the fucking best, and then I'll give you whatever the hell you want. And like, I need you to have it, say with your full chest, you believe it, you feel it, you know it, right? Everything I'm saying is because I've done the work on that. I have come to understand and love myself, right? Like, I had challenges, traumas, things that I had to go through in life, and I wouldn't change it tomorrow. I would not change a single thing that has happened to me in my life because it is who I am today. And if anybody's ever watched the movie The Butterfly Effect, if you haven't, go watch it. But if you have, like, think about it from this perspective. Ashton Kutcher and I think it's Brittany Murphy. And basically, if you change one thing in your reality, the entire reality changes from like one experience. So it's like you get to go back into time and you're like, oh, I wish that one thing didn't happen to me, right? So they change it in the movie and then the reality changes. And so, like, you think, oh, if my mom was just there for me, or if my dad didn't leave, or if this didn't happen, like, then I would be better. They're all way better than me because they're lucky and they had it easy and they didn't have this thing. Well, no, if you change something, what are the downsides to that? Going back to what I talked about of everything is neutral. Everything is good and bad, right? I work with founders a lot. We talk about, well, I don't have the credentials. I didn't go to that school. Okay, what are the downsides of someone who went to that school? Okay, well, maybe they were spoon fed their whole life. They're not going to be good under pressure. To be a founder, you have to be good under pressure, right? Do they know how to overcome obstacles fast? Are they willing to figure it out? Do they know how to be scrappy, right? Those are things that you need to root to for yourself. Stop trying to live in someone else's story and live in yours and own it and see how it's the best thing that's ever happened, because that's how you start to love yourself. You have to love your past. You have to be in acceptance in where you are. And then you have to know your future, right? What your potential is that you're going to create. You don't need to know how, but you need to know it's possible for you. If you desire something, it's because it's already yours. We don't need to go into quantum physics, but like the reality, whatever I'm dreaming up is because it's a possibility for me. We all have different things we want. How else do you explain that? I don't want to be a nerd, like a surgeon drilling in someone's head. Somebody wants that. They see that desire. They see how they're the perfect person for that, right? We all have different things that we want, and it's because it's already ours. We're tapping into a future version of us. So when you get to a state of letting yourself dream, if there was no rules, you're tapping into a future version of yourself by doing that. You don't realize it, but
Yeah.
that's what you need to realize that that's available to you. Now, that person that exists has certain beliefs, actions, feelings, actions. You have to become them, okay? So who you are right now and this person, they're different, okay? You can't have this desired reality that you want with who you are right now, okay? So the universe, reality, everything, every single person that comes in your way that's getting you from A to B is literally giving you the keys that you have to collect to become the person that has it. But you need to not realize this is available for you. But are you willing to go through the journey to get there? Again, the journey is not going to be easy. It's not going to be the like spiritual people want to, always be like, oh, if it's meant for you, won't miss you. And like, it should feel smooth and easy. It's like, no, it's not. You have to learn skills, right? If you're in a relationship that's good, but you don't know how to communicate, you can't just leave the relationship and then assume that the communication is just going to happen on its own, right? That's telling you need to gain a skill of learning how to communicate, how to be vulnerable, right? How to gain something that gets you there. You don't just become this by dreaming, wishing, and praying. You do it by action, right? You have your North Star, you know it's possible, but you have to take action. You got to go up and down. You got to learn. You got to use reality, triggers, obstacles, things that make you become this person. Because then you'll look back and what are you gonna attribute to it? Right? Think of anyone who's successful that had obstacles. They talk about that obstacle left and right. Someone lost all their money and then they became a billionaire, right?
This
Multi-millionaire. They talk about that, right? Why? Because that's where they learn the most. That is what gave them the ingredients, the skills that they needed to become that person. Without it, it wouldn't happen. And we're all trying to avoid this. Why? Because it's bringing up uncomfortable feelings. We don't have the tools to actually acknowledge it. We let our emotions take over. We're in autopilot. We're letting our subconscious win, our ego, the nervous system. You have to learn all of this. Like all that I'm trying to teach is to give you the tools of like how your mechanisms of your brain and body work and then being able to action it into reality.
Yeah, and really, it's a useful information because this is how we try to react and collect all the keys that you were talking about, and even if the keys that are not compatible with us, it's opening another perspective. It's opening another purpose. It's opening another opportunity. Maybe we choose the wrong key, but okay, we learn from it, and we decide to open to a new ideas, to a new relation. So it's just the will that we have to take the process. We have to live the process in a way. So before Stephanie, before we ended up, but I want just if someone is listening right now and feels like criticized, belittled, dismissed, under pressure, or is still thinking because of it. Uh, what is the one decision they must make, like tonight at least, like day by day, just start by tonight, to stop seeking approval, to stop seeking people, chasing decisions, following the steps of others, and start defining themselves? What would be the last thoughts or
Mhm.
ideas of this?
Yeah. Okay. First, you need to take radical ownership of your life. That is step one. You need to say, from today on, I am now taking radical ownership of my life. Okay. There's no more blaming. There's no more pointing fingers. There's no more of that. I'm taking radical ownership of my life starting today. That is step one, right? Make a commitment to yourself, maybe. Write something out that feels really good of how you're going to start committing to your life. Secondly, I would make a list of all the things that you want other people to give you, make you feel, do for you. Okay. Try to make it around feelings, like what you were trying to gain. So if you're trying to get money, what are you trying to gain? What do you think money is going to make you feel? Right? You're trying to be in a relationship. What do you think that's going to make you feel? Or maybe you're in a relationship and you wish your partner did more of this. You wish your boss did this. What do you want that? Then I want you to look at that list back to the radical ownership. I am in charge of giving myself all of these things. This can't come from the external. It can only come from the internal. It is impossible to come to the external until I feel it. Okay. Pick one. Start with one thing at a time. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. Pick one. Okay. I want to understand myself more. Maybe you want your husband or friends or someone, your family, to understand you. Okay. That's showing you don't understand yourself. How can you start to understand more about who you are? Right? What are things that make you great? How does your brain work that's different? What makes everything about you special? Okay. What is another thing that's in there? Right. And you want to give yourself, you are the only person in the whole world that is in charge of that list. The second you try to give it to someone else, it's going to fail because they are not going to give you anything. They're matching how you feel about yourself, right? Think about when you compliment someone. You compliment someone because you feel it. Usually that person receives it. Someone who doesn't receive a compliment means they don't believe it. So if someone ever says to you like, "Oh my God, you're incredible at what you do," and you say, "Really? You think so? You think I'm good at that?" That means you don't believe it. Okay.
Yeah,
So we want all these things so bad from the external. You're getting it and you can't receive it. Why can't you receive it? Because you don't believe it. It's proof again that it starts with you. If you feel you're good at it, if someone gives you a compliment, you're like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." Duh. In your head, you're like, "Yeah, of course. I know I'm good at that." Right.
yeah,
If you're like, "Really? You think so? I should do that? You think I'm capable?" You are not even receiving the compliment because you don't believe it. That's
yeah.
just added proof that you are the only one in charge of that list. So that is what I would do tonight is just you don't even need to do anything besides take radical responsibility. What are all the things that you want? And sit and look at, I am in charge of this. However I want to feel, I am in charge of. Anything that is happening in my reality that I do not like, it is there to show me something to get me what I want. Okay. And if you don't know what you want, that's your starting point too. You gotta have something you're aiming towards. If not, it's gonna be really hard to see life happening for you if there's no end goal in sight, right? Us getting in an argument is getting me to make $1 million, right? I can tie the two of those together. How? What did I learn? What did I gain? What did it give me? What beliefs came up? Great. That is directly correlated to that thing. So it's also a need to actually get yourself to want something and know how to do that. And just be kind to yourself. Like everything I'm saying, let it sink. This recording, I assume, will go out. I would listen to this multiple times. Our brain can really only take in 22% of information at a time. I talk really fast and I give a lot of information. So, like, re listen to this, let it sink in, see what's coming up. Anyone that's triggered and feeling like, no, this means it's for you, right? It's our ego trying to protect us and keep us safe from not. Um, it doesn't know that it's doing this, but it's keeping you from your potentials because it just wants to keep you comfortable meaning how you are right now. So if you're not liking how you are right now, you can't listen to the story because the story is just trying to keep you in the story. You as the consciousness underneath have to be the one to overpower it, right?
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you're not taking radical ownership of your life.
That's true. That's really true. And especially with us, like get back to us. if anyone is listening is struggling with that, because we're coaching not because we're knowing more. It's just like we are like the same, we were one day the same shoes that the people were struggling with now, facing like criticism, facing people that they face me into like putting me down. You cannot do that, you cannot do this, you cannot achieve. And I was using my own life, my own experience, and transform this into services, into products that showing on my page, showing on Stephanie's page also. She was, I think she was like
Mm.
going through a lot of struggles, and then now she's like really wants to improve more, and teaching people. And this is the reason of why we're here, to help. And I think in like, to me, as a giver, is like one of the most action that it keeps me going. Thank you so much, Stephanie. If you
Yeah.
have any last thoughts, last words, like yeah.
No, no, thank you guys all for joining. Thank you for being here. Also, I am just so proud of you for everything and all the things that you're going to accomplish and do, and just be kinder to yourself, be nicer to yourself. Like, we're all here for a specific thing that only we can create because of who we are. And we were all born perfect. And we're just getting back to that original state by removing all of the stuff that got put onto us in the meantime because of the mechanisms that are in our body to keep us safe. And just remember, your body's not against you. It's your greatest asset, is working for you. Everything is working for you. It's just understanding, learning the tools. I have a ton, like all of my Substacks are free. They go in so much depth. So feel free to like go read a ton of things that's around all of these topics. Um, and you can go to my website if you're interested in working together. But let me know, message me if you have any questions. I'm happy to help as you go through things.
Thank you everyone for listening. Yes, believe in themselves, in yourselves, and everything else that you need help, we're here to help you. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Thank you.
Goodbye.